Well, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jessica Likewise, and I'm the CEO of Hope Education Services. One of the things about me is that I love to learn, and I'm always learning. That's why I partnered with Dr. Keith Storey. He's amazing. He has 30 years of experience in the field of psychology. He has a BCBAD, a PhD, and we've also just partnered recently to offer some continuing education units. I'm a big believer that in order to be an effective practitioner, whether you're an ABA therapist, whether you're a psychologist, a school teacher, or even just a parent, that you have to be aware of different fields and different schools of thought. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the competence deviance hypothesis. Dr. Keith I'm going to admit, I never heard of it, but like I said, continuing education is super important. I'm a big believer in exposing yourself to as much as you can possibly learn. It can't do anything but make you better. So today, stay tuned. We're going to talk about the competence deviance hypothesis. Well, hey guys, and welcome back. Dr. Keith Storey, it's an amazing privilege to have you back. I always learn so much from you and enjoy having you as a guest on the show. And so what is this competence deviance hypothesis? Where does it come from? What does it mean? And how can we use it to make our lives better and the lives of our students better?
Well, the competence deviance hypothesis was first developed for people with disabilities by Marc in the 1970s. And Marc was a brilliant researcher who developed a lot of the strategies that we use now, like prompting procedures, task analysis, and so on. But he was also a philosopher and looked very broadly at the service delivery system and how we're supporting people with disabilities. And he would talk about the competence deviance hypothesis. And I had the privilege of seeing him do a keynote speech early in my career where he talked about the competence deviance hypothesis. And it really influenced me a lot. And in the ABA field or the special education field, we often look very narrowly at what we're doing, and we need to look broadly. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint here with you, and we'll just walk through the competence deviance hypothesis. Okay, so with competence deviance, you want to look at whether the skill that you're teaching increases an individual's competence and or decreases their deviance. Okay, so deviance is negative attention towards the individual, and competence are attributes and skills which not everyone else has and which are appreciated and needed by somebody else. So what we often do is we decrease deviance. So a lot of people with disabilities that we work with have deviant behavior. They may engage in self-stimulatory behavior, self-injury, aggression, non-compliance, so things like that. Those are all deviance that is drawing negative attention to them. So for instance, if a person looks very different or dresses very different, people in society may look down upon that person or see them as having deviance. Now, competence is a skill or attribute that the person has that is valued by others. And this really applies a lot in work settings, where we want people with disabilities to be in real work settings, not in sheltered workshops or adult day programs, where they're out there doing real work and earning a living wage, having benefits, and so on. So the competence deviance isn't necessarily something we think about this, but once you understand it and can apply it, I think it really makes a difference in how we teach and what we teach. Okay, so the more deviance that the person has, the less that their behavior will be tolerated. And the more competence that they have, then the people in the environment are going to tolerate the deviance more. So having worked in higher education universities for many years, I've seen some professors and researchers who have a lot of competence, such as getting grant money and skills like that. But they have a lot of deviance, such as poor social skills, harassment and things like that they may be engaging in. So at some point, the university may say, this is too much deviance and their competence doesn't outweigh that. Or they may say they have so much competence, we'll tolerate that deviant behavior. So it's a judgment that the person is making about the individual with disability, or in this case, a university professor. Now, if you just decrease deviance and don't increase competence, as Marc Gold puts it, you get the person to 0, and 0 is nowhere. So again, if the person is 0, they have no competence that they're bringing to the situation, but they have no deviance. But any deviance that they do develop will get them fired from the job or kicked out of the situation or so on. Okay, so competence depends upon coworkers, employers, teachers, whoever, seeing that the person has competence or skills that they need. Okay, and it's usually some skill or competence that they don't have that they need. So Marc Gold gave the example of a worker in a factory who was, cleaning, doing janitorial work, sweeping, and so on, which is not, that necessarily high skilled, because they could easily bring in somebody else. And this worker picks his nose, and the coworkers complain about it, and he's fired. Okay. Then he tells a different story. Same person, man with an intellectual disability, working in a factory, but there's a piece of equipment that's essential for the factory to work. So his job coach and another person teach this adult with an intellectual disability how to operate this key piece of equipment, because the man is going to be retiring. So when they have the retirement party and he says, thank you very much, and he leaves, and they're like, well, who's going to operate the piece of equipment that's so essential? Job coach says, oh, I've trained Keith to do that. So Keith, gets on the machine and he's doing great and so on, but he picks his nose. But now the picking nose is tolerated because Keith's competence outweighs his deviance. So Marc Gold tells it a lot better than I just told it, but that's basically what he's saying. And I've got a video link that I'll share with you here at the end of this PowerPoint. Okay, so the more competence the person has, the more they're tolerated, the more they're valued. The more deviance they have, the less they're valued and the less they're tolerated. So when you're then thinking about what skills to teach, you need to think about, is this skill going to increase the person's competence, or is it just going to decrease deviance? Okay, so like bathing or hair care. Well, if you come to a job site, people are going to expect that you have bathed and you're cared for your hair and you're appropriately dressed. So those skills eliminate deviance, but they don't build competence. Okay, so you need to think about at a job site what's going to be a competent skill, what's going to bring competence. School sites, residential settings, home settings, community sites. Is what you're teaching going to build the person's competence, or is it only eliminating deviance? And again, it's okay to eliminate deviance. We want people to be able to dress themselves, brush their teeth, comb their hair, and so on. But we need to think beyond that to, are we building competence that's going to be valued by other people in that situation or out in the community? Okay, so talked about that. So you need to have a balance between building competence and eliminating deviance. Okay, and again, the more competence you build, the more deviance is going to be tolerated in the situation for that individual. So it's important to analyze what skills you're teaching. So here's a video link that I have posted on YouTube. And you can go there, and Marc Gold is talking in more detail about these issues and some other issues. There's a collection of Marc Gold's articles in a book. Did I say that? Unfortunately, Marc Gold passed away in the early 1980s. And then a book I have on systematic construction of functional skills for students and adults with disability. So I hope that that was informative. And again, just think about competence and deviance and the skills that you're teaching to the individual, and that you're building competence as well as eliminating deviance.
And this just makes so much sense when you just think about it, right? It's like, oh yeah, so of course, this makes complete sense. And I will admit myself, so one of the things I'm really bad about is getting my timesheets in on time. I actually think I'm a little bit, maybe like almost 3 weeks behind right now on my timesheets. I'm going to be doing them this afternoon. And then I think that's my deviance, but the agency puts up with it because I'm very competent in working with children. So I'm like, okay, this makes perfect sense. But I loved this. This is really great. All of the books that Dr. Keith referenced, including his book and the YouTube video he recommended, that will be in the comments below. So if you want to check them out, we will have that for you. I learned a lot. I always do from you, Dr. Keith. And like I said, continuing education is very important when you're in the field of whether it's ABA or whether or not you're a special education teacher, whatever it is, continuing education is critical. So Dr. Keith has written a CEU on inclusion. If you got value from this, you will get value from that. So I am not a BCBA. I am not accredited by the BACB. Dr. Keith is, and he is offering this course. I'm helping him sell it from my website, hopeeducationservices.com. If you want to check it out, it is one CEU. You can head over to my website and you can purchase it on there directly. And thank you, Dr. Keith, for being here. And we look forward to seeing everyone.
Thanks, Jessica.
Video.